Do you remember when I cut my hand open?
No.
Oh, when I was working at the glass shop, um, I was removing glue from a quarter glass window, so it's basically just a handle, and you put a 1 inch box cutter blade inside, and you can just you have your little scraper now. And I was holding the glass, and the scraper got away from me, and dumb reflexes, I tried to catch the blade, and I just sliced just perfectly through this spot of my hand. So I had to get like 13 stitches. You were able to see my bone. You were able to see my tendon. The doctor was like, for as unlucky as you feel right now, you're actually pretty lucky. She's like, look, and she like picked up the flap, and she's like, move your finger, and I did this, and you can see my tendon pulling my bone. And she's like,
Damn.
you're extremely lucky. And I was just like, gosh. But yeah, I got 13 stitches, and now I have no feeling in that finger.
Jesus.
So it just feels like weight.
Days, brother.
Bro, it was weird. Like I didn't feel anything. Like I remember that experience so vividly because that was my first time ever having to actually go to the hospital. Like I've never been to like the hospital for anything serious, like stomach aches and like sprained ankles and shit. But like stitches or like a real like sickness or something, like I've never been in the hospital. So I was just like, oh my god, I was like what 20, 25, 26 maybe. So I was just like, I just remember cutting my hand. I just felt warm. That's all I felt was warm, and then blood just was everywhere. And I was at a body shop, I used to work there. So I went to the GM at the body shop, and he was like, dude, got me a rag and just tied that thing off. He's like, this is gonna hurt, but I'm gonna save your hand. And he just tied that thing off so hard, but adrenaline was going, dude. I didn't feel nothing. I was like, do what you gotta do. It just, oof, dude, that whole thing just started turning all red. And my coworker took me to the hospital. My mom met me there, dude. And this nurse, like, I was freaking out because I was there, and like I said, I had no pain. It was weird, and she was just cleaning all of this stuff, and she's like, "Okay, now I'm not gonna lie to you. This is where the pain's gonna come." She said, "This is probably gonna be one of the most painful things you'll ever feel in your life." And I was like, "Huh?" And she's like, "I'm gonna have to get a needle, and I'm gonna have to stick it in your womb, and I have to numb you, and it's not gonna feel good." And I was just like, I remember just going, okay. And I looked at my mom, and my mom was like, you're going to be fine. And I was like, okay. So she stuck that needle in there, and I was just like, she's just pushing the numb spray in there, and you just feel it like liquid just shooting in the muscle. And I was just like, ugh. I was like, that's nasty. And she's like, that don't hurt. And I was like, no, I was like, that feels disgusting. And I was like, ugh. She's like, oh my God. She's like, people are usually screaming right now. I was like, no, that's just gross. Like, ugh. Like I don't feel pain. I just feel the washer nasty. But yeah, so that's what happened.
That's funny.
That's my hand cut open story.
Jesus. I don't have anything like that other than just my leg. I got 26 stitches. I think I told you that story though. It happened at our old job, but I was here in San Antonio.
Wait. I don't know. I might not know this one. Yeah, go ahead. Go on.
All right, so I was a technician back then. I had just started. I was probably like 6 months in, 8 months in, something like that. And I was at the caddy, wiping my sweat off, and with a towel. I turned the corner, and then my boss comes running, hauling ass with the tire dolly. And you know how it has the claws underneath that grab the tires?
Yeah.
Well, this was an old ass dolly, so the freaking the claws were like frayed and ripped. I mean, that's solid steel. I mean, you can imagine how many times it scraped concrete. just over time, just sharpening and sharpening and sharpening and sharpening. Anyway, that dude comes running by, and he had a stack of tires on the dolly.
Yeah.
Well, the tires slipped underneath, spread open the legs, and it fucking slices my leg wide open.
Uh,
Fucking
what?
my skin folded out. I mean, blood was just like gushing out. I was like, holy fuck. I looked down and I was like, I mean, within seconds, bro, my whole foot was like, my sock, my shoe was soaked in blood. And
Oh
so
my goodness.
my boss grabbed me real quick, took me straight over to the fucking, to the sink, wraps like a whole bunch of paper towel, fucking duct tape that motherfucker. And I fucking drove my ass myself to the emergency and had them stitch me up.
Oh my god, bro! So it's on like the back of your calf.
Like the side of my calf.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And yeah, dude, I mean that some bitch is long. It wraps pretty much halfway around my leg.
Bro, let me
And
ask you this. Let me ask you this. Why ain't you a millionaire right now?
well, first off, uh, this is back in 2010. So it wasn't like how it is now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those shake it off, throw it under the rug. Let me know when you're ready to work type of deals.
Yeah, like it's not like how it is today where everybody's trying to fucking sue somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Bro, honestly, I wouldn't give a fuck at this point where I'm at. Like, fuck it. Why not? Why not? If that would have happened to me today, like, oh my God, manager negligence. This is how y'all run business?
That's funny.
I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
It wasn't like
Kind of
that
not
back
really.
then. So it's like, and the manager, I had already known him. He was my best friend's uncle.
Oh,
And
really?
I had known him for a while. So it's like, I'm not even going to fucking, not that he would have been, I don't think that he would have necessarily been at fault for it in terms of like the lawsuit. It's obviously going to go towards the company. But like I said, just back then, that's not something that you thought of. I think people were more, how can you say, loyal, loyal to the brand.
Yeah.
Not like now where people work there and they're real quick to find anything to sue somebody over. I don't even know if you got the recent one. They had a settlement last year,
Uh-uh.
late late towards the end of the year. They did a settlement for people that worked there in like 21, 22. Just another thing of time card issues, right?
Oh my God.
A guy
How
saying
does
that
that
he
keep
didn't get paid,
happening?
a guy that said that he didn't get paid properly or something. I guess he had facts to back it up, and so it was worth filing the suit. And so it was like a $7 million case. You know, but the problem with those is that you got to think that you're splitting $7 million. You know, that's half of it like went to the lawyers. So
Yeah.
by the time it got to us, it was like, okay, it's a $3.5 million pot with thousands of people. And so like it tells you, oh, well, the first 60 or some odd thousands of dollars are going to the client, which in fact there's three of them, I believe, if I remember it right. There was three people that all filed the same suit. So they all got like a bigger piece of the pie, and then whatever was left for us, we had to claim. Well, it was only like fucking $200, and whatever we don't
$200.
claim, then it goes to them.
Huh. Man, so they
So
made
like,
out like bandits.
I didn't even claim my shit. I was like, bro, I'm not gonna worry about it. Cause then you gotta claim it on your taxes and shit. Like
Oh, yeah,
I was
fuck
like,
that.
no, I'm not gonna fucking worry about a $200 check. Those motherfuckers went through all the hard work to like prove a point. Let them boys get paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way I seen it. Especially when I read that, I was like, it's like, well, if you don't take the money, we're gonna give it to these 3 guys. And hey, if I can help somebody else out, so be it. You know what I mean?
You're a good man.
I wouldn't say that. I'm just not that desperate for $200. You know?
That's funny. But that's one thing I would say about that back then, even when I was working there, that I still admire today was the ability to build such a camaraderie against frenemies at a point.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it was second to none. It was pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's definitely a different style of loyalty there these days.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Definitely a
Absolutely.
different style of loyalty. And you know what? Hey, I think we're better off where we sit currently today. You know what I mean? Well,
What you got to say about
I
that?
go ahead and well, should I go ahead and get us started and just go ahead and welcome everybody back to both ends of the table? You know,
Yeah.
the only
Let's do it.
podcast where 2 guys think they're smarter than NFL coaches. And, occasionally dumber than the refs throwing the flags, But today we're pulling up our chairs, cracking open some football talk, and yes, we're probably going to argue about quarterbacks, coaches, and why my fantasy team will definitely be better than his. So grab a seat because one way or another, you're stuck with us at both ends of the table.
Yeah. I like.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the way I did it, based on our conversation, what I did is I looked at the Vegas over and unders and see what they projected them, each team in my division as for winning. And they have the Texans. So actually, I went off of Yahoo Sports. So Yahoo Sports is predicting the Texans to win 9.5 games. So what I did, I looked at the schedule, and if we're being completely honest, I see the Texans winning 8 games for sure. There's about 8 games I can see us winning. I don't see us getting 9 or 10. There's a couple of teams that are going to be good games, that be real close games that I can see us pulling off, but I wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, we're for sure beating this team, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I don't even have us beating the Colts in the second half of the season, just because we play them at home, and the Colts are always a good division rival game, so they always bring it. No matter how bad they suck, they always bring it.
Right.
So I give them their home game, and I give us the home game against them. The Colts next. Yahoo Sports has the Colts at 7.5 wins. Looking at the Colts schedule, I got them with 5 wins. I couldn't justify 7. I got the Colts beating the Broncos at home in Indianapolis. Week 2, I got them beating the Raiders. Week 5, I got them against the Titans at home in week 8. And then I got them doing an upset against the Steelers in week 9 at home as well.
Interesting. Okay.
And then I got them last beating the Jaguars week 16. And then I also got Atlanta and Berlin at 7 in the morning for us, or for them, whatever. But it's they play Atlanta and Berlin. That's gonna be an interesting game.
Okay.
Who knows how those go? Those out of country games are not what you expect them to be. So I'm not going to put a for sure winner on that game because it can go either way. I feel those are pretty much coin flips, unless it's the Chiefs or the fucking Ravens. Bills. I'm not going to put a for sure win on that. And then I also have a question. Houston at home in the last game. Like I said, they always bring it, so I can see them beating Houston the last game of the season at home.
I got you.
Jaguars, they're also predicted 7.5 wins. I put them for 4. Like I said, I was looking at these depth charts, man, and I just couldn't see, I couldn't recognize these names. So I started looking them up, and it's a lot of new people. There really hasn't shown much talent out there. Trevor Lawrence is going to have to do a lot, especially with the rookie head coach coming along. So I got them beating the Panthers week 1. I got them beating the Raiders week 9. I got them beating the Colts at home week 14. And then I got them beating the Jets at home week 15. I'm not sure. I put a question mark against Seattle. I think that might be a game they can pull off. But I'm not too sure on any other teams that they can beat, because looking at their schedule, I mean, I don't see them beating 49ers. They're not going to beat Joe Money and the Bengals, or the Chiefs. They're not going to beat the Rams. I don't see them beating the Chargers. I can't see them beating Cardinals. Tennessee's going to be a good fight. Shit, even the Jets might be a good fight for them, but I see them pulling it off. And then Denver at home, and Denver in Mile High Stadium. I just don't see that happening. So
I'm telling you, bro, Denver's gonna come on strong this season.
Yeah, man. The Jags, I just don't see them pulling it off, especially with what they got going on. And then lastly, the Titans, they're projected to win 5.5 games. I also have them down for 4. I have them beating the Colts week 3 at home. I got them beating the Browns in week 14. Got them beating the Jags in week 13 and the Saints in week 17. And then I can't justify a 5th win or a 6th win for them to meet those odds.
I hear you. Makes sense.
But we'll see, dude, because...
So who you got winning the division overall?
The Texans. Unanimously, the Texans are going to win the division.
I agree.
Because the Texans and the Colts will split. The Texans, I believe, will run through the Titans and the Jags. But I think the Titans could beat the Colts.
Uh-huh.
And that will give us the win over the division. It's going to be between us and the Colts. Because, looking at the Colts, they're really not a bad team, man. They're not,
but do you really think that Daniel Jones is going to lead them to the promised land?
No, they won't get to go to the promised lands, but we are one of the worst divisions in the NFL. So if anyone can make it to the playoffs, it's going to be one of us,
And so what's your take with
Cam Ward?
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting, man. On the Titans, right? Mm-hmm. I just don't see any names. I was looking at the depth chart. I don't still see any big names. I don't see much going on for them. I think this is going to be a rebuild year for them, without a doubt. I really don't have too much to say about them.
Okay. Hey, we'll see how it goes. You know what I mean? He looked great in college. Although I feel like it somewhat kind of tailed off. I don't know if it feels like that because of the losses. But we'll see how it goes. By all accounts, he's looking great in the media, and he's holding his people accountable.
Yeah. So I think he'll ball out, man. I think he'll ball out. I think he'll have really good stats. I just don't think the team will do enough to win.
Okay. That makes sense.
Just looking at the depth chart, rookie quarterback, I think it's going to be a rough season for them. But he'll definitely shine.
I mean, you got Cam Ward, you got Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, right?
But yeah, they're older guys. Has Pollard really proven anything?
Well, I mean, he didn't prove anything last year, but I think look at the entire season as a whole. It just I think there was such a big question mark at quarterback.
Yeah.
I think that's where they were. I mean, think about it, right? They went off and they draft Malik Willis, and then who was the most recent guy?
Was it the last quarterback? Was it Brandon Allen
No,
for the
he's backing
Titans?
up. Yeah,
Was it Will Levis?
Will Levis. There you go. Yeah, so they drafted Malik Willis because that dude could fucking throw, super far. He had a hell of an arm, but then they never even really used him. I guess maybe after they drafted him in preseason or something like that, maybe he didn't shape out to be the quarterback that they thought he was. So I don't even know that this dude ever really even got any starts. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then he goes off to Green Bay, and he's backing up Jordan Love. So
Looking at the rest of the look, but looking at the Titans roster. Ridley, older receiver, small guy. How much can he do for a rookie quarterback? Tyler Lockett, veteran, another small guy, older. And then you got Van Jefferson. Who the F is Van Jefferson?
Van Jefferson,
He's had a record 6 touchdowns in 2021 when he played with the Rams. Since then, he's yet to get more than 2.
yeah. Well,
Hasn't
I think
gone
that was
over.
all.
Yeah,
That was the year that they went to the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken.
that was his best year by far. He had 89 targets for 802 yards, 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So it's like, what does he got? What does he really got? Do you want a rookie quarterback throwing downfield to some small veteran wide receivers?
Sometimes they need those veteran wide receivers to kind of help them out a little bit, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they'll be good. They'll be good coaches and all, but this guy needs a target. He needs a Andre Johnson. He needs a Megatron out there. He needs a DK Metcalf. He needs a Julio Jones. He just needs a big body receiver that he can throw it
Do
up,
you think
jump ball.
that if maybe they start off the season, what do you have them starting off the season the first 5 games?
The Titans, I believe they
Yeah.
go on a 1-5 streak.
Oof. So you think that they make a trade by then? Maybe they figure out, hey, we need another receiver. They make a trade somehow. And if so,
Possibly.
who do you think would? If so, who do you think would be a good pick?
A good pick for them. Let's see. Man, but who can be traded? Who would man?
A lot of people will be on the table though.
Yeah. Mm, to give him a give him Stephon Diggs, maybe.
Yeah, but he just signed with the Patriots,
Oh, that's true. That's true.
so I don't think Patriots would be up for trading, especially when
So
that's supposed to be like their number one wideout for Drake May.
that's what I'm saying. Like, but so who would be out there? What options are there? What receivers?
Well, you'd have to think about what team can afford to lose a top wide receiver but is also in desperate need of some draft picks because that's what you're going to trade for. You're going to trade for a
Yeah.
draft pick. At that point, if you're starting off the season, would you say 1-4, 1-5?
Yep. So
At that point, you'd be trading for a draft pick.
let me tell you the Titans schedule real quick. First game in Denver. Second game against the Rams at home. I don't see them being the Rams. Third game against the Colts. I gave them that Colts win. I see them being the Colts at home.
Okay.
Then they play Houston in Houston. They're not beating Houston at home. And then they play the Cardinals in Arizona on their fifth game.
So that's a coin flip, in my opinion.
You think so? The Cardinals at home?
Yeah, I think it could still be a coin flip for that one because don't get me wrong, Kyler Murray, had a really good season last year, but the team itself overall just is too inconsistent. They gave away
Yeah.
games last year that they shouldn't have given away. They won games that they shouldn't have even won. So it's just like there's a whole lot of inconsistency there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they can be consistent this year, then yeah, they'll definitely beat the Titans. But if they remain inconsistent like they were last year, I give that game a coin flip. It could go either way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where
Absolutely.
I that's
Maybe
where I kind
the
of that's where I kind of fumbled around with my picks. You
yeah.
want you want to hear mine?
Let's hear it.
All right. So I'll start you off with the over and unders. All right. So this is for the AFC East. Vegas odds. Okay. They got the Bills at 11.5, Miami and New England at 8.5, Jets at 5.5. Okay. If I'm a betting man, I'm taking the over on the Bills and the Dolphins, and I'm taking the under on the Patriots and the Jets. That's what I'm doing. So I got them projected. I got Bills winning the division 13-4. I got Miami at 11-6. I got New England at 7-10, and I got the Jets at 4-13. So that's where I'm at with this right here. Now, when you take a look at the Bills schedule, okay, their 4 losses are going to come to really your juggernaut teams, right? So Baltimore, KC, Cincinnati, Philly. I think that they lose to KC, even though Josh has a 4-1 record against Patrick Mahomes in the regular season. I just think that this go around, he's going to take that L. And then, like I said, I got Bills going to the Super Bowl this year.
Bro,
That's who I got.
bro, you have them losing at home against the Eagles?
Yes. Yes.
In December?
Hey, Philly's cold itself. So the weather isn't going to
But
be
it's
a
not
factor. They
Buffalo
both play in
cold.
cold weather. They both
That's
play in
true.
cold weather. They both play in cold
That's true.
weather. They're both geared for that. I just think that the defense for Philly is too much to handle for the Bills, especially in cold weather.
But the Eagles lost Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see that as a slip up. I don't think that that's really going to teeter them too much, honestly. It's not to sit there. It's not to sit here and say that Kellen Moore didn't have a tremendous impact on the way that Philly's offense was performing. But I just have that much trust and faith in Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goddard, AJ Brown. I mean, everywhere you turn, there's weapons,
Yeah.
right? So I think I think the offensive firepower is still going to be there. I think the explosiveness is still going to be there. Um, I just think that again, from my perspective, is that they're just going to take the L in this one. I just think so. I think they're going to know at that point that they have the division locked. So it's not necessarily going to be like a must win type of game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So
I don't even know that they
so
even try their hardest.
so now okay, that's a good point too. Because yeah, second to last game.
Right. And then I got them winning to the Jets automatically because again, I don't think the Jets are going to do shit this year. And at that point, they're probably going to be playing their second string, third string quarterback. They're probably going to be tanking for the season to move on from Justin Fields. Even though they signed him for a 2-year deal, I don't think the Fields experiment's going to work out. So that's why I got them. I got them winning the that last game by default. But I got them sweeping the whole division. So I think they're going to
That's
go
funny.
0 in the whole division. He's
They're
never
gonna sub
lost
in
to
OJ back for that Jets game.
Miami ever, and he's never lost to New England since Bill Belichick has left. So, anyways, and yeah, and New York Jets. I mean, they're. I feel like what Aaron Glenn is working on right now. It's not just a 1-year turnaround thing. I think this is like a 2 to 3 year build that just isn't
Yeah,
gonna work out. So Miami, I got them going 11-6. Okay, I got them obviously losing to the Bills twice. I got them taking the L against Baltimore. Baltimore always spanks that ass. This is going to be on Thursday Night Football as well, so it's going to be a short week for both of them. But still, I think that the offensive weapons are too much to handle for the defense for Miami.
yeah.
When you take into account,
Fine.
Derrick Henry, Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers. I mean, you name it, they got weapons everywhere. DeAndre Hopkins just joined them this season, so that's going to be a tough game for them. Period.
Yeah,
But I
and
think
then
they
it's
lose to the
showtime.
Commanders too.
Yo,
I think they lose to the Commanders. They're traveling to Madrid in that one. But I think they lose to the Commanders. It just for whatever reason, I don't feel like we do so well when we travel like that. I just think that we're from Miami. They got too much fun. They kind of just, who knows? I don't know. It's just a feeling of mine that I think we'll lose that game. Got them losing to the Steelers Monday Night Football. So the spotlight's going to be on Tua, and anytime spotlight's on Tua, he always tends to kind of shrink a little bit. And then you got them losing to the Bengals again Sunday Night Football. It's going to be a primetime television game most likely. And once again, when the spotlight's on Tua, you know,
he hot
nothing
to
seems to
us.
go right. Yeah. Patriots, I got them going 7-10. I don't think I necessarily really have to go into the details of this one right here. And then the Jets schedule, I got them going 4-13. So I think the only wins that they pull out, they're going to start the season off, as you can see, they're going to start the season off 0-6, I think.
I can agree.
I mean, look at that. Look at that schedule. You're going against Steelers, Bills, Bucks, Dolphins, Cowboys, Broncos before you face the Panthers.
And you know what's crazy? They have the
And you could
seventh
still lose against
easiest
the
schedule.
Panthers. Yeah, I just don't think that Fields is the guy. That's my thing. I don't
No,
know. To me, he didn't show me enough in Pittsburgh that he has what it takes to hold down a franchise, which is why I feel like as soon as Russell Wilson became available, Mike Tomlin played him. Is because, yeah, he was holding down the fort, but it was kind of like he was just defending it. He wasn't really
yeah,
taking the fight to teams. Does that make sense?
just doing just enough.
He was doing just enough to kind of get by and squeak by some wins, but they hadn't scored 30 plus points the entire time that Fields was the starting quarterback. They didn't score over 30 points not once. And then Russell Wilson comes through and immediately starts dropping 30 burgers all over everybody. So again, I just don't see it as Fields being the answer to what the Jets needed. Now, does he provide a different dynamic to their game? Absolutely, because he's a dual threat quarterback. But again, I just don't feel like he has that it factor. So I'll give him the
Yeah,
win against the Panthers. But even then, you can honestly say that that's a coin flip too. So there's a very good chance that they could likely start off 0-8. The Bears, I'm sorry, not the Bears, the Browns, again, another coin flip, right? We don't know what their quarterback situation is going to look like.
Yeah.
Again, that's a scary situation there. And so if they don't win against the Browns either, I don't have them winning against the Patriots. They definitely ain't gonna beat the Ravens. Falcons are gonna fucking smack them around, and then you have the Dolphins again. I think the Dolphins sweep them, and then you go up against the Jags, which, like you said, you got them only going what 4 games, winning 4 games
Mm-hmm.
this season.
Yep.
Okay, I haven't beaten the Saints just because I feel like the Saints are in the same boat as the Jets. Right
Yep.
there's a question mark at quarterback now, unless throughout the season the Saints figure out that quarterback situation, they'll have enough to kind of do some damage. In which case they'll come away with the win. But then again, your last 2 games to finish it out, it's going to be against the Patriots and the Bills, divisional opponents, and I don't have them winning it there. So 4-13, read it and fucking weep. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I believe I
But
saw a post saying that the Saints are starting Spencer Rattler.
did they post that out?
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen that.
No, they definitely posted it today.
Okay, so it was made today.
Made today. Breaking news.
Gotcha. Spencer Rattler starting. Tyler Shuck is not going to be there. He's
Mm-mm.
QB.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be an
All
interesting
right.
season this year. After looking at the schedules and having to dive into some of these teams and see their strength of schedules and stuff like that, it's definitely gonna be an interesting season in the AFC and
Well, I
NFC.
think it's going to be. I think it's going to be interesting throughout, right? So let's take a look at the landscape of things, right? You got 5 rookie head coaches this season,
Yep.
right? So you got Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, Kellen Moore, Brian Schottenheimer, Aaron Glenn,
Yep.
right? For the most part, except maybe the Jets, all respectable franchises. And I'm sorry, Jets fans, but I don't consider the Jets franchise to be a respectable organization.
Yeah. You
I
think
don't
the
know what it
Jags
is.
are respect? Well, the
I
Jags are
think
coming
that
up.
they're
The
just.
Jags are.
Well, the Jags and Jets are living in the same world,
Yeah, they're
right?
rebuild teams. They're just
Well,
constant rebuild
I mean,
teams. They're
bro, how many
2 year
how many
two
times how many times have the Jets rebuilt?
every other year, just like the Jaguars.
Yeah, but that's my point though. So we can't sit here and call them a respectable franchise if every other fucking year they're rebuilding their goddamn franchise.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The Jags, I
You
would say,
know?
are also not a respectable franchise either.
Yeah, I mean they've had all sorts of starting quarterbacks. I mean, you think of as of late, right? You have the Zach Wilson deal, you have the Aaron Rodgers deal, you have what's his name that's on the Seahawks now.
Geno Smith.
No, he's at the Raiders.
Geno Smith is in the
Sam
Raiders.
Darnold.
Sam
You
Darnold.
got Sam Darnold. So you
I'm thinking
drafted
way
Sam
back.
Darnold first. Motherfucker saw ghosts. So then he drafts Zach Wilson, and then that dude, was the cougar catcher. He got more fame for dating older women than he did on the football field. So then he tried the Aaron Rodgers experiment. That didn't work out, unfortunately. I think we were all kind of hoping it would, but that didn't work out. And then now you're on the Justin Fields experiment. You sign him for a 2-year deal. I don't think it's going to be any good. Not to mention, throughout that whole process, what have you gone through? 3 different head coaches? That is the literal definition of mediocrity.
Yep.
You haven't had success since what's his name?
It would have been
Gosh, I
Rex
can't.
Ryan.
Rex Ryan. You haven't had success since Rex Ryan.
And I believe that was like
And
2007
that's
with Mark
because
Sanchez.
right, and that's because he re-interviewed for the job. I mean, he
Really?
was advocating for that job. So, oh yeah, oh yeah, he wanted that job. And honestly, man, I think New York Jets fans were actually hoping he'd get it. I think they were wishing they'd give him another run at it because outside of him, no one's had success in that franchise since the Joe Namath days. So
Yeah.
why not give that guy another? But, anyways, let's get back to talking about the rookie head coaches.
Well, you know what's crazy about that topic? The Jets were last good with Rex Ryan. You know who Rex Ryan's offensive coordinator was?
Who's that?
Brian Schottenheimer, another rookie head coach in this year's season.
Interesting. That's a very good little observation there, sure. That I very much like. But all right, so again, so which one of the rookie head coaches is going to make the biggest impact on their franchise?
It's
You
going to
got
make the biggest.
the Yeah, so you got Ben Johnson, obviously he's got Caleb Williams and we're trying to figure out what's going to happen there. You got Kellen Moore trying to figure out the Saints. Shoddy in Dallas trying to keep Dak relevant,
Mhm.
whatever. Aaron Glenn trying to, redo with the Jets, and then of course Liam Cohen trying to revitalize Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. Who you got? Who's got the biggest impact here?
Who's going to make the biggest impact?
Who's going to have the biggest impact as a head coach? Who's going to have the immediate impact, but also the biggest impact?
I want to say Ben Johnson, but it's all
Okay.
going to depend on Caleb Williams. Now, Ben Johnson, I looked him up. I went through his career. He has had a phenomenal 2020s. His 2020s are second to none. And, as far as achievements and what he's been able to accomplish from a
Yes.
non-head coach.
Agree. Look at
But,
Jared Goff. He made Jared
yeah,
Goff a top 10 quarterback.
but the potential with Goff was always there. And Goff is a good quarterback as far as I would say his ability to be coached. Caleb Williams, on the other hand,
Okay.
I'm not too convinced he is a coachable quarterback. He has
I agree.
a really big persona, a really big, attitude, and just the way his demeanor is and how he goes about things. I just don't feel comfortable saying that it's going to be an immediate impact. So I got to see how the season starts off and where it goes. I will say
Yes.
I'm still going to say he's going to have the biggest impact just because based on his
So you're going
accomplishments.
with Ben Johnson.
I'm going with Ben Johnson. I would say a second
Okay.
would be, of course, Shoddy.
Rightfully
But
so.
when it comes to the most pressure, I would say Shoddy is under the most pressure.
Obviously, because of the whole, being in
Just because the
Dallas.
franchise, just because who it is.
Well,
You have
yeah, it's
Dak.
it's the franchise. You got Dak, but they're also coming off a 12-5 season.
Yeah.
So that's another big kicker there too. You
Well,
know what I
that,
mean?
and you got all the drama with Michael Parsons going on and Jerry Jones.
Yeah, but
So
that has nothing to do with Shoddy though.
he's the head coach.
I know that, but he's not responsible for that negotiation. He's not the owner, right? That's all Jerry Jones and
Yeah.
Micah Parsons. So now once Micah gets on there, once he gets signed, if he gets signed, then obviously that pressure goes back to Shoddy, right? But
Yeah, but you don't think the drama
that defense,
or whatever, the chemistry in the locker room, he has to figure out, are you going to play Micah or not? Micah, like, when you're on the field, like, are you going to give it 100%? Stuff like that. Like, you don't think all that plays
you
an
gotta
effect on how his ability to coach?
you gotta remember that his background is offense, and that's why they brought in Matt Eberflus, because Eberflus is a
Yeah.
defensive minded coach, right? And so if you noticed over the last few years, the way that Jerry's kind of had the coaches is like, everybody who is in those coordinator roles is,
Mm-hmm.
or even the head coach, is always one side or the other. There hasn't been a balance of both, right? So again, you got Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator. He gets fired because apparently Mike McCarthy wants to run the ball more, but then he doesn't run the ball more, but somehow still gets more wins. So he gets a pass on that. And then Schottenheimer's the offensive coordinator this year, but he wasn't calling the plays. Mike McCarthy was. I say this year, but it was last season.
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy was calling plays, not Shoddy, right? But then
Yeah.
who did they bring in for the defensive coordinator, right? Oh, what's his name from the Vikings? Because they obviously lost Dan Quinn,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then they bring in I can't remember his name, but they bring in what's his name from the Vikings. He had just got fired from a head coaching position there at the Vikings. They bring him in as a defensive coordinator. They fire him in 1 year, and then they bring in Matt Eberflus, who is also a fired head coach, but is a defensive minded head coach. So their defense OC or their defensive coordinator is a defensive minded guy. Their head coach is an offensive minded guy, and so again, I don't think that the whole Micah thing has anything to. It's not worrying Shoddy as much as it is Eberflus, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's
But that's just
Shoddy's the head coach. Yeah.
yeah. But
Okay.
I'm with you. So I agree that Ben Johnson is definitely going to have the most immediate impact. Um, again, an insanely talented offensive mind. You know,
Dude.
which is a change up again too, right? We're just talking about the head coaches always being like defensive mind or whatever, being one sided. That's what Chicago's known for. Chicago's always been known for their defenses, right? Even dating back to
Yeah.
the Matt Nagy days, you know.
Coach Mike Ditka.
Yeah, the 85 Bears, right? Fucking baddest defense and had just some insane stats from the 85 Bears. But so
Yeah.
you got to think that them switching over to an offensive mind like Ben Johnson, this is a culture shift,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that culture shift is going to come with a lot of the way that Ben likes to run his offense, which as we saw with the Detroit Lions, it's a lot of play action pass, it's motion. There's going to be a lot of mismatches. Um, and obviously he's hoping that that's going to help Caleb adjust to the NFL speed. I think that he's on track to have a successful career if Caleb lives up to the hype.
Yep.
Right? If
That's
he lives up
yep.
to the hype, progresses in year 2, he's good. If he doesn't progress like we expect, I think honestly, I think we have another Anthony Richardson scenario in Chicago.
Yeah.
The same way that the Colts are dealing with Anthony Richardson right now, where they're up and down on him. Right now, they have him as QB2. I think that I'm not going to sit here and say that they bench Caleb, but there's definitely going to be a different opinion about him because there's no
Yeah.
way in hell that you're going to take away Ben. His resume speaks for itself over the past 5 years. That you
Dude,
bring in
his
a coach
resume
like
is
that,
his
yeah,
resume
you
is
bring
insane,
in
bro.
somebody like that, you're not getting rid of him. You're not going to get rid of Ben
Wow.
Johnson because the moment that you get rid of him, he is going to go annihilate somebody else. You know what I mean? He's going to be easily picked up as an offensive coordinator at the very least, if not as the next head coach of another franchise. And if they even give him an ounce of control to say, hey, you know what, we're going to give you 5 years to rebuild. Imagine what that dude could do. You know what I mean?
I mean, he don't have to do much. The Bears are on. They got a pretty decent team already. So a quarterback,
They have a very
it's
good
not much.
team.
He just has to find the most important piece of the team.
Well,
But
and
dude,
so
but like
it
looking
kind
at
of
what he
goes
has
into the
going
next
against him
question.
too.
But it kind of goes into the next question. Okay,
What's
so
the next question?
playoff potential. right? So playoff potential. Do we see any of these guys go into the playoffs? Now, obviously, the Jets is a complete no. They're not going to the fucking playoffs. Sorry, Jets
Yeah.
fans. You're not going to the playoffs this
So
year. Okay,
so
but let's take a look at Cowboys. Let's take a look at the Bears. Um,
I,
maybe the
I'm just
Saints.
I'm gonna say right off the bat, none of these teams I think have a chance to make it to the playoffs.
Not even the Bears.
Not even the Bears.
Okay.
The Bears
Why do you
have
feel as though none of them? Why do you feel as though none of them are going to make it to the playoffs?
so given Ben Johnson, great coach and everything, but first year
Okay.
head coach, like I said, biggest question is Caleb. That is the biggest question. So let's see how that goes. The next thing is the Bears are tied second for the hardest schedule in the NFL, playing all the powerhouses. So not only do
Agreed.
they have to play good, they have to damn near play perfect their first season being together in a tough division. But no, they're not in a tough division. Let's see. No, they're in an okay division, right? They have the Lions, powerhouse. They have the Vikings should be pretty good this
They're
year.
in an okay
Who
division.
else?
No, they're in a tough division.
Yeah, they're in a tough division
They're
now.
in
I
a
was like,
tough
wait,
division.
no, they got powerhouses in there.
They got the
So
Lions, they got the Packers, they got the Vikings, and then you got the Bears. That is
yeah, see, and
that is
they're finishing last in
one
their
of the
division. They're not
toughest
going to the
divisions.
playoffs.
Really? So you have that much faith in JJ McCarthy?
For the Packers,
No, for the Vikings.
I don't. I just think the Vikings. Oh, actually, no, never mind. I'm looking at it now. The Vikings don't have. See, I'm in the 2024 season on the Vikings.
Yeah, they moved on from Sam Darnold,
Yeah,
right?
and then they picked
They
up Carson
drafted
Wentz. That's
JJ
right.
McCarthy last year, but then they drafted JJ McCarthy last year, but then he goes down preseason, has year-ending knee surgery, season-ending knee surgery. So they immediately had to turn to Sam Darnold. Well, Sam Darnold just turned into this freak of nature and just goes off, and plays his ass off and ends up taking the Vikings to the playoffs. And
Yeah,
his tenure at the end kind of just tended to slack. I mean, and everyone's going to say it all started when they did that celebration for him. There was still like a game left, and he comes out from the field and walks into the locker room, and everyone fucking hoists him up on his shoulders and throws water all over him, like as if they won the fucking Super Bowl. From that moment forward, he was never the same. Hate to say it,
dang.
but he was never the same after that, because the very next week they went out and played Detroit, and they made fucking Sam Darnold see ghosts again. But granted, they were still guaranteed to make the playoffs. It's just that they were fighting for first place. So whoever won that game was going to get the first round bye. Well, they ended up losing, so Detroit got it, and then the Vikings had to play in, I believe, in the divisional round, and then they ended up getting bounced. So
Yeah. Okay.
because once again, Sam Darnold didn't play so well. But nonetheless, now that Sam Darnold's gone, they obviously chose not to sign Sam Darnold again. They let him walk. And then they put all their eggs in the basket with JJ McCarthy, because obviously they're showing that much confidence in the kid. And then now they have Carson Wentz as their backup quarterback.
So let's say
But so do
that
you have that much faith that
no, I don't. I don't. But let's say that the Bears are third in their league. In the NFC, do you really think that they're going to have a chance to make the playoffs, given that the NFC has the 49ers, the Rams, you have the Lions, the Packers, the Falcons, the Bucks, all playoff teams?
see? So that's I know that that's kind of where you're going with that. But the reality is that there is a possibility where even all 4 teams could essentially go to the playoffs if they play all that good. You know, it wasn't that long ago that
Yeah,
you know, you look at the NFC
AFC,
East, right? It's the
AFC.
NFC
Yeah,
East with no. And stay with me here.
I
The
thought it was
NFC East, I believe, which is the
the
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
It's the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Commanders, the Giants. All 4 of them went to the playoffs. So you could have a repeat of that all over again.
Could, but
But with this division,
I don't see
here.
that happening in that division. I just can't see it. I don't see the Bears winning that many
But why
games
not?
this year. Huh? It just depends on Caleb. Caleb, like I
Right.
said,
No, but
first year.
let's just assume that Caleb breaks out, right? Let's assume that Ben Johnson is the quarterback whisperer that we all think that he is,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's just take that and kind of move out the window with that already. Let's just say that Caleb is already ready to go, good to go, right? What's stopping him from
Yeah.
there?
And now I'm just talking assumptions. No, if Caleb, I mean, let's look at their schedule. Let's go down the line. So first game, Bears and the Vikings, right there. Boom. That'll prove our point right there. Who's going to be the better? But given everything I just said, we can give that one to the Bears. Second game, they play the Lions. Do you see them coming on top?
Well, hold on. So let's just say, okay, so let's fast forward through all the divisional games, right? They're going to play 6 divisional games. Let's say they split the division. Because honestly, like if you look at the Bears, the Vikings, and the Packers with the way that Jordan Love played last year, this guy was guaranteed an interception a game last year. Okay, if he doesn't figure that out and goes down the same road this year, right? That makes all 3 of those guys a coin flip on the games against themselves. So let's just say they split the division. Those 3 guys, let's say it's a 3-3 by default. What other tough matchups do they have? Just rattle them off real quick.
They got Cowboys, Commanders, the 40,
49ers are not that good
the Eagles
this year. They
this year.
have
The
all
Steelers
sorts
will.
of injuries at the wide receiver position.
What was that?
I said the 49ers,
Uh
they're
huh.
not as good as we think they are. My opinion. They have way too many injuries at the wide receiver position. They lost a ton of defensive personnel. I don't see them being as big of a threat as they used to be.
No, you don't think. You don't think Brock Purdy shows up? Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, you can't count on. But they still got Nick Bosa. They still got Fred Warner. They still got Williams. They still got some good names. Shanahan's a good coach.
They got good
They're not
names.
going to be a terrible team.
Don't get me wrong. Shanahan is a great offensive minded coach. Okay. But look at this type of season that he had last year with no Christian McCaffrey, no Brandon Ayuk.
But now we're just talking more assumptions. We're assuming these guys ain't going to go out. It's like creating the thing of Caleb Williams. Like, what if Caleb
Okay,
Williams goes
but they
off?
don't
What if
have
Christian McCaffrey
okay,
stays
but they don't
healthy?
have Debo Samuel anymore.
They don't have who?
Okay, but these are just straight up facts though. These are straight up
Yeah.
facts. They don't have Debo Samuel no more. Brandon Ayuk is still hurt. He's coming off of injury, but he ain't going to start the season. Okay. Christian McCaffrey is going to come back. Yes, he's going to start the season, but you just said it yourself that he's a coin flip too on whether or not he makes it through the season.
Yeah.
Right? And so their main receiver right now is going to be George Kittle and Ricky Pearsall. And Ricky Pearsall wasn't it's not like this guy's the next Megatron or something like that. You know what I mean? He's not a
Yeah.
scrub, don't get me wrong, but he's not causing that much of a difference. And Brock Purdy, unfortunately, showed us that without all those weapons, that he really can't take a team above and beyond what you expect him to. You know what I mean? He doesn't have that. He doesn't provide the X factor
So you see the
unless
Bears
he
being
has
the
his weapons. The Bears have. I'm not saying that I see them beating them. What I'm saying is that they have a legitimate shot at beating them. It's not just like a done deal, case closed type
yeah.
of thing where you can just sit there and bank an L on their over and under or whatever.
They also play the Bengals. The Bears got a tough season, man. If they could pull it out,
And the Bengals
kudos
is
to
another
them.
hit or miss.
Kudos to them, though. If they could pull it off,
When
that'd
do
be
they
great.
play the Bengals?
They play November 2nd at noon.
Week what?
I'm not sure what week that is. Let me see. Week.
So the Bengals might catch fire by then. But if you look at the way that the Bengals start their seasons off, they start them off terrible, right?
They start off slow
They
as hell,
always lose
dude.
their first two season openers. Slow as hell, and then they start picking it up in November. So maybe the Bengals actually come out with the win there, But also too, what about Joe Burrow? He's always such a question mark himself too. He's had 2 seasons where he hasn't played because due to injury. And who knows what the fuck that defense is going to look like? I mean, dude, last year Joe Burrow was scoring 30 plus points every single fucking game and they were still losing. It's like the
Yeah.
Paul Skeens effect.
But we're just talking hypotheticals for the season. Instead, right now, we just got to look at what the depth chart is and what's what we know as of right now. We can't be trying to think of what's going to happen in the future because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. All we can do is look at what we got on paper and use our best.
But is that not what we're trying to predict here?
Yeah, but we can't be like.
But that's what we're trying to do here. Is we're trying to predict the future.
We can't
the only
create
way
these
that we predict the future
hypotheticals.
is if we know the past.
Hypotheticals can go on forever. There could be 1,000 hypotheticals for a team. We can't focus on the hypotheticals. We gotta just look at the depth chart now.
Well, yeah, but in order to know the future, you have to see the past first. In order to even predict the future, you have to see what's going on beforehand.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Okay, it's like Tua and the Dolphins. Right? You think Tua's going to have a concussion this year?
More than likely, because he's had so many in his life that you could flick him in the head and he'll get one.
Okay, but that's a hypothetical, right? That's a hypothetical, but you're basing that decision off of the history. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the history.
That's different though, because that's a concussion.
That's the same thing. It's a hypothetical.
It's easier to get a concussion it's easier to get a concussion every time after you get one. This dude had like 7 or 5.
Right. But Joe Burrow has also been injured fucking twice.
But it's not a concussion. If he tore the same ACL or something twice.
But
were they the same
injury? Always costed him a season. No, and that's the worst part. That's the worst part because if it was just all knees, okay, well then fuck. All right, don't run, don't juke, and just go down. Don't try to carry the weight of a 300-pound D lineman who's trying to sack your ass. Just go down. But no, first one was his knee. Next was his wrist, right? Then he was worried that he wasn't going to be able to throw right because even after the wrist surgery, fully completing rehab, he still didn't have full motion in his wrist. But then the motherfucker goes off for 40 some odd touchdowns last season,
Yeah, he hasn't done me wrong on fantasy football. But again, since I've drafted him the last 2-3 years.
He's always just hit or miss, it seems like, man. Like the Bengals, yes, he's a great quarterback, but man, it's no different than Tua. It's like you're just hoping and praying that this dude doesn't go down with some sort of injury.
Yeah.
The only difference between
him and Tua is that fucking Burrow actually takes his team to the goddamn Super Bowl and plays really well against tough divisional opponents or tough opponents, period. Whereas Tua tends to fold like cheap tits.
Yeah. So with the assumption that fucking Joe Schmoney and Jamar Chase are connecting, they are gonna fucking do a lot of things dirty to the Bears.
All right, dude. We got off topic, bro. We got so off topic. It's not even
That's
funny.
not off topic. We're talking about Ben
Jesus.
Johnson and the Bears.
That was we straight off the path and we got into talking about Tua. They're not even in the same fucking division.
You just want to bring
God
publicity to
damn
your
it, dude.
Dolphins.
All right, so playoff. So playoff
That's all you're
potential.
trying to do.
I think Bears have a shot at. I think the Bears have a shot at making the playoffs. I think that with the addition of Ben Johnson, okay, and his tutelage, with his ability to run the offense, right? Think about this. They just drafted Loveland at tight end, and they still have Cole Kmet, right? They have DeAndre Swift, and they also have Roshan Johnson. On top of that, they also have DJ Moore and Roma Dunze at wideout. So not only do you have two really good wide receivers, you got two fairly decent running backs, and you also have two good tight ends. So you're going to expect a lot of 22 personnel, a lot of running the football, right? Which what happens when you run the football? You're going to go for play action
Open play
pass. Well,
action.
who do you have to throw to? I just rattled them off right now. DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. You got Loveland at tight end, who's probably going to be throwing some chip blocks and getting wide open. Same thing with Cole Kmet. They're going to hit them up big time. As soon as they start pounding the rock and gaining a couple yards, defense is gonna start crowding in. They're gonna try to block that line, and next thing you know, boom, it's gonna open up. Play action pass, deep ball down the sidelines, touchdown. Right. So I just think that the team is too schemed up for the way that Ben Johnson likes to run his offense. And again, hypothetical. I know it's all predicated on Caleb Williams. Yes, I know. Okay. But as long as he's living up to the hype, they have the potential to stun anybody. If he's living up to the hype, I know that's a strong if, right? And it's all predicated on him. But if he's living up to the hype, they do have the potential to stun anybody out there. And don't be surprised where they split the season within their division and then somehow sneak into the playoffs. Because honestly, that division has a potential where all four teams could potentially make the playoffs. And again, it doesn't happen often, but it has recently. So it's not that far off to think that this could happen again. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I just think the NFC has a lot of good teams.
You got me hot, dog. You got me hot, boy. I hope you know that. You got me fucking hot, boy. Let's go.
Well, keep your fucking hotness. Let's move to the next team. Let's move to the next quarterback.
All right.
The next coach.
Let's.
Brian Schottenheimer.
What you talking about?
What?
Oh my God. Okay. What about Shotty?
We're going through these rookie head coaches. What do you think? What are your expectations? What do you think he does? What do you think about him? What do you think? What do you think about the Cowboys promoting him so soon? Like my notes on Shotty? I'll show you. I got 2 notes on Shotty real quick. 3 notes. My thing is, can he do it? And can he do it alone? Oh, you froze on me.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, because throughout his career, he was really good offensive mind head coaches. That's how he got brought up through his career. He was running under Rex. Well, Rex Ryan was defenses. I'm lost. Never mind. Cut that part out. That was the wrong guy. Wrong note. But he did have a lot of help throughout his career. That was
Jesus, brother. All right. Here's my take with Shotty. Okay.
That's what I was saying.
Here's
He
my
didn't prove
fucking
enough to
take
me.
with Shoddy. Actually, let me pause on Shoddy real quick. Okay. Let's talk Cowboys real fast. Let's just talk to Cowboys and the Cowboy fans across the world. Okay. That always think that every year's their year. Okay. That they're going to the Super Bowl. You know, some of these motherfuckers still think Tony Romo plays for them. You know what I mean? Is that fucking crazy? But listen to the start of this fucking schedule. Opened up at the Eagles, home against the Giants, go back up north to the Bears. Then they play versus the Packers at home. Then they have the Jets. They could easily start the season off 1-4. I'm sorry, 1-5.
They have the 5th hardest
The
schedule in
Eagles,
the
I think the Eagles are The Eagles, I think, are going to beat them opening day. They're gonna lose against the Eagles. The Giants,
Yep.
again, I'm not sitting here saying that the Giants are fucking all world, okay? But you just added the top defensive player in the NFL, who they compared to Micah Parsons, who you are in contract negotiations with, that you're potentially going to lose. Okay, they have him plus Thibodeau on the other side. So they got 2 defensive edge rushers that can fucking mow through any offensive line you put them through. Okay, so their defense is going to look good. I can promise you that. Then you have Jackson Dart, Russell Wilson, Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatterboo, right? That dude's thighs is just as thick as Saquon Barkley's, right? The only difference is he's white, but the motherfucker can run.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if his hops are as good as Saquon, but them damn thighs, bro. Them things are like this, brother. They're like this. You know what I'm saying? So again, they can be a formidable opponent. They can be a very formidable opponent. So I'm not sleeping on the Giants this year, at least against the Cowboys, because again, it's a divisional game. They play each other twice a year. They know each other's tendencies very, very well. Okay.
And they always seem to show out.
So again, they could easily lose that game just as they can win. Right. So you have that. Then you have the Bears, right? We just got done having a conversation about them. You know, they are a formidable opponent. As long as Caleb Williams is living up to the hype, they can stun anybody. I can see the Bears stunning the Cowboys, right?
Yep.
Packers. I think Packers have their number. The Jets, we know this is a situation with the Jets. They ain't doing shit. So guess what? You got at the very, very best, in my opinion, you could start the season off 2-3, but you might be looking at like a 1-4, 1-5 to start the season. And then hold on. That's just to start. Right after that, right? Okay. So Carolina, you probably so Jets and Carolina, that's a 2 weeks, 2 weeks that you win right there. Then you
Back
go
to
up against the
backs.
Commanders.
They think they got some momentum.
Commanders are good. Then you go up against the Broncos in Denver, Mile High City.
Oh.
Okay. I think that they could potentially lose that game.
Yep.
You got to think, bro. Sean Payton, ex-Dallas Cowboy, he knows what the fuck they're going to do.
Yep.
He's very fucking smart. He's got his boy Bo Nix. He will fucking go off. I guarantee you. Broncos are going to be winning that game. Then they go to the Cardinals. That could be a coin flip, right? Cardinals have stunned them before. Who knows? So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9 games right there that you could potentially lose.
Doesn't
6 of
Kyler
them.
Murray like playing against the Cowboys? Because wasn't that his team growing up?
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, Kyler Murray is he's a Dallas. I think he's from Dallas.
Yeah, I think he likes playing
Like
against
he's
the
from like
Cowboys.
Allen, Texas, or some shit like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's just
But
like 45 minutes
just think
north of
about
me.
that. If Shoddy doesn't get it figured out, he could start the season off. If he doesn't figure it out, he could start the season off. What is that? 3-6, and then so you hit your bye week, okay? And
Never
then,
calling plays before.
Well, hold on. So check this out. Check this out. So you hit the bye week.
Yeah.
Now listen to this. Listen to this fucking gauntlet right now. Ready? At
Hit me.
Vegas, home against Philadelphia, home against
Ooh.
Kansas City, at
Ooh.
Detroit, home against the Vikings, home against the Chargers, at the
Ooh.
Commanders, and then you finish off at the Giants. That's a fucking
That's a
gauntlet that you're going through.
that's a tough second half, dude. The Chargers, I wouldn't say
That is a
they're a
very
bad team. They're
fucking
not a
tough
great
second
team, but
half.
they're a good team. The Chargers are a good team, man.
Yeah. So
Ooh, and
again,
then they play the
I don't
Commanders
think
only
that the
4
Cowboys are going to be
days.
that good this season.
The Commanders is a Christmas game, and it's only 4 days after playing the Chargers.
Yep.
Oh man, that's gonna be a sad year for the Cowgirls.
Yeah, I don't think that they win. Or I'm sorry, I don't think that they go to the playoffs. I don't think that they have a 12-win season. I think they take a major step back, and I think that they're going to be they're going to be up shit creek without a paddle because you paid fucking Dak Prescott, you paid CeeDee Lamb, right? You're probably going to pay Micah. You good? Jesus, that's terrible, man. I feel bad for you, brother. I really do. Anyway, I was just telling the audience that we were just talking about, with the whole shoddy situation, that kind of takes us into our next segment, right? Of who will have the better or worse season than the coach that they replaced, right? So their predecessors. So you got Ben Johnson to Matt Eberflus, Moore to Dennis Allen, Cohen to Peterson, Glenn to Sala, Shoddy to McCarthy. Okay. Who do you think do these coaches have better or worse seasons than the predecessor? Because generally, you replace a head coach, it's because you had a pretty shitty season.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is going to have a worse season than the previous coach before them?
The Jets.
Really?
What did Sala go last year?
So the Jets went, I believe, 5-12.
Yeah. Let me see here.
I got you right here. So they went 5-12. So the Jets went 5-12. The Cowboys went 12-5. The Saints went 9-8. The Jaguars went 9-8, and the Bears went 7-10. So if you think about that for a second,
Actually, then fuck.
three out of the five teams had winning records that got rid of their head coaches.
So I'm still gonna say the Jets. Either the
So
it's
you
between
think
the
they're going
Jets.
to be worse than 5-12?
It's between the Jets and the Saints
Okay.
because the Jets have a tough division still. So if we look at the schedule, Steelers, Bills, Bucks, Dolphins, Cowboys, Broncos. They could beat the Panthers, Bengals, Browns. They could beat the Browns. It's Patriots, Ravens, Falcons, Dolphins, Jaguars, Saints. They could possibly meet last year's potential. 5.
I think they max out at 5 wins. I think they guarantee themselves 4.
Yeah. But the Saints with the whole QB position, unlike the Bears, they don't really have a QB that they can count on. It's not like any of those QBs that they have proven anything or have. I mean, they're going to start their rookie quarterback now, as of that we know as of today. Again, this is Kellen Moore's first head coach opportunity. Kellen Moore, given his IQ, he's been on the teams that he's been successful on. He's had a squad with him, and if we look back at the team where he didn't have necessarily everything going for him, he didn't do too well. The Rams,
Okay.
but with the Cowboys, he was with the Cowboys when they had everybody with them in the early years, and they
But you
did
do
good.
realize that Kellen Moore just won the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, but that was with a squad, bro. That was with an Eagles team that's already proven something before he got there.
By winning a Super Bowl?
Not winning a Super Bowl, but they were a good team already. They were already a great team.
I'm not knocking the Eagles for not having a decent squad. I'm not saying that at all. They definitely had a fucking phenomenal squad. Right? But
So my question for Kellen Moore is, can he do this on a real? Can he do that with a rebuilding team?
well, and I think that was the big question of his hire, right? Because they talked about that with offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators for that matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not always best to take the next open position, but sometimes it is because you might not get another chance,
Right.
right? Look at Schottenheimer. That dude had plenty of opportunities to take head coaching positions. He didn't take them, and it took him years after that to land the job that he's in now. Years, right? So that was always the biggest thing. But you can't take away from what they have, right? Because they have some decent weapons there. You still have Alvin Kamara, you have Chris Olave, you have Rashid Shaheed. Plus, they just added Brandon Cooks, right? They got Cedric Wilson Jr., who, which by all accounts, he's a speedy little slot receiver right there. Okay. And you still got Taysom Hill, right? He's a jack of all trades. You have Jawan Johnson at tight end position.
But Taysom Hill's hurt.
Yeah, but again, what I'm saying is that they have some weapons around, and you have to think that Kellen Moore is known for his offensive creativity. And when you think about it, he has all the weapons that he needs to be creative. And so I don't think he's going to have a worse season than what Dennis Allen had. I think it's going to be about the same. He may get just a little bit better. Where I come into play is I think that Shoddy's going to have a worse season. Because again, I look at the Cowboys schedule. First half that's fucking rough as it is.
So wait,
Right?
the Cowboys won 2 games last year. What'd you say? 3 games?
The Cowboys?
Yeah. What'd
No,
they
they
go
went
last year?
12. They went 12-5.
12-5. Oh, okay.
Right. And I don't think that the I don't think they're gonna go 12-5. Again, we talked about the beginning of their season being a rough season. They very well could potentially start off pretty insane, right? Like 3-5, or let's just say at best they start off 4-5. So they're below 500. They still have to go through that gauntlet.
They would
They
have to
gotta
win
hit
out the season. Yeah.
they gotta hit the Eagles. They gotta get the Chiefs, then the Lions, then the Chargers, then the Commanders. I mean, dude, it's a fucking gauntlet, right? And yes, he's got a strong roster, but he's going to be put to the test. And you're going up against a 12-win season. I don't see it happening. I don't think that he's going to match 12 wins. I think that he goes less than that. I think the Cowboys miss the playoffs again.
I thought the Cowboys did way worse last year.
And who knows, right? What if Shoddy's a one and done head coach?
Just something to
Now,
get rid. They had to get rid of McCarthy.
that's not to say no, not to get rid of McCarthy, but McCarthy's contract I think was up. So it was either re-up with him or go a different route. But let's look at the coaching trees, right? Let's look at who could potentially go back over there. Who was the talk of the town that might potentially be a target that they didn't go even? Bill Belichick.
Really?
A lot of people were advocating for him to go over there, go check it out. A lot of people knew that Jerry Jones wouldn't bite the bait because he's not going to take a coach that's going to have more spotlight than he is.
That and he wouldn't want to give Belichick the control Belichick needs or wants to
Exactly.
make that
Belichick
organization
is
successful.
Belichick is going to demand control. But we got to understand, dude. Jerry Jones is 80 some odd years old. What is he, 83 this year?
Old. He's dust.
Brother, you do not have a whole lot of time left on this planet.
82. He's 83 October 13th.
You do not have a whole lot of time left on this planet. And I guarantee that the need for a championship, he's going to get pushed beyond the brink of desperation. And I think that if Shoddy has as bad as of a season as I think he's going to have, because I think they're going to have a losing record, I think probably at best they may go 9-8, which is not going to be acceptable to Jerry Jones, not going to be acceptable to the Dallas Cowboys fans. I think that they move on from Shoddy after 1 year and they bring in somebody else. Again, I think a great candidate for that is going to be Bill Belichick. Just me personally. But we'll see. Right? Bill's over in North Carolina. He's coaching at the University of North Carolina right now. But I think that maybe he just wanted to kind of do that as like a little side quest just to keep him busy, because he probably knows that there's a job waiting for him in the future. And with these college coaches, I mean, hell, they can leave anytime because their contracts are guaranteed from the jump.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, these college coaches, man, they walk away with millions upon millions of dollars. I
I
mean,
ain't gonna
the most recent robbery that I can think of, just right off the flip of my head, is Jimbo Fisher over at A&M. Let me see here. His contract buyout was $76 million. They signed him to a 10-year, $100 million contract, if I'm not mistaken, when they
Damn.
first when they first hired him as a head coach for Texas A&M. And I think he lasted all but 3 years there, and they had to buy him out of his contract. $76 million is what they paid that dude out.
Damn.
And you didn't even have to fucking coach 7 of the 10 years. So not only do you get the 76 million, but you could easily go jump to another college, sign another 5-year, $50 million contract. You got 76 million in your pocket, plus you just signed a contract for another 50 million for 5 years.
Damn.
Brother, I need to be a coach.
Right? Should take this shit seriously.
So, anyways, I think it's going to be that. Now, let's get into the last topic. Who has the toughest job out of all of them?
Schottenheimer.
Are you saying that because of the gauntlet that he's facing?
Yeah, well, just everything. Of course, the Cowboys, he has the most spotlight.
Well, he definitely has the most spotlight, but who do you think has the toughest job in terms of either carrying the franchise to new heights or reconstructing the whole thing? Who do you think has the tougher road? The toughest
Road?
path, the tougher road ahead.
Oh, it's gonna have to be the Jets, because that team's just like impossible. It just seems impossible right now to bring that team back.
Yeah. So would you even call it a road though?
A what?
I said, would you even call it a road at that point? Like you're sitting at the dead end when he fucking jumped in the car. There's no road to fucking go down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I
but Aaron Glenn's a defensive coach. He did good with the Lions. My question for Aaron Glenn is it too soon? Well, again, one of those questions. Was it too soon for him to become a head coach?
I think so.
I say that, but then like I look at fuck, the Houston Texans head coach.
D'Amico Ryans.
Miko, why did I do that? I'm sorry. Cut that out. Miko was a young head coach, and he's doing all right.
He's doing very good for himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got to go with Kellen Moore. You know, I think that he inherited a 9-8 team, but I just think that with the quarterback question, right? So, but you kind of answered that earlier whenever we were talking. You said that they came out with a statement saying
Ritter, what's his name?
that Spencer Rattler, he's going to
Rattler.
be the starter.
Yep.
Yeah. So now that we know that, let's see how it goes. I don't think Spencer Rattler's going to be worth a shit, but I honestly don't know if Tyler Shuck's going to be any good either.
Fuck it, throw your boy
But
Hill
I
in.
say he has a tougher road though, because the New Orleans community doesn't accept failure very well. They're used to winning because of Drew Brees. They're used to being relevant. And over the last few years since Drew Brees is retired, they have been irrelevant. And obviously going through a breath of, or, through a plethora of coaches now, which, I mean, granted, I say plethora, it was only really one. It was just Dennis Allen, but I think they had another one in between Sean Payton and Dennis Allen. But again, I just don't think that Kellen Moore is going to have as big of a leash as, say, somebody like Ben Johnson or even Liam Cohen for that matter, because you have to look at the expectation. What is the expectation of that team going into this season based on the way the roster is constructed? You think the Jets have any fucking expectations that they're going to go further and beyond than 5-12 from what they did last year with Justin Fields leading the way?
No.
No. Right? Do you think that Liam Cohen is going to do better than 9-8 when all they did was just add Travis Hunter, who's going to play both ways and could potentially get injured?
No.
Right. Because one wide receiver, honestly, is not going to make or break the entire team, right? It all falls on the hands of Trevor Lawrence. So I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars franchise, I think that fan base is set on, let this be the last year that we give Trevor Lawrence that shot. And if he doesn't figure it out with a guy like Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr., who went off last year himself, not to mention you have Travis Etienne, who's not a scrub.
Oh, I said the running back. I was gonna say Etienne. I don't know how to say his last name.
Etienne,
Etienne.
yes.
He's a
He
stud.
ain't no scrub. Yeah, he is a stud. He ain't no scrub. And so again, they gave you another weapon at the wideout position. You have a tight end already. You have a running back. Now it's time for you to put some wins up on the board. I mean, albeit Doug Peterson didn't do a terrible job. I mean, they had a winning record,
Yeah.
9-8, but it's just nowhere near compared to how it looked whenever they went to the playoffs, where they ended up kind of blowing that lead with the Chargers. Right? It hasn't been the same since then. They haven't gone back to the playoffs since then either.
And that was one of their first playoff berths in forever. Since I think was it as a franchise, right?
No, because they had it with Blake Bortles too.
Oh, I forgot about Bortles.
Yeah. So, but again, you're talking a 9-8 season. Now, the division's not that difficult because you can win probably 10 games and go to the playoffs.
And you go
You
even
could
Stevens.
you could potentially go the route of winning 10 games. So if you win one extra game, you go to the playoffs. But again, nonetheless, if they go less, I don't think the expectation is for them to go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think this is just the deciding factor year for Trevor Lawrence to say, do we need to keep this guy or do we need to move on from him? Because Travis Hunter is going to be box office. So he's going to sell you merch and he's going to sell you tickets regardless.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's those two. Then again, Ben Johnson, we talked about him. We went off about that shit. It's all predicated on Caleb.
Dude, just looking at Ben Johnson's stats, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, bro.
He's great.
He had 2 promotions in 2020. Offensive quality control coordinator to tight ends coach to passing games coordinator. In 2022, he got promoted to offensive coordinator. Became a top 5 team. 8 games over 30 points, breaking the Lions single season record. In 23, denied the Panthers head coach opportunity. taking the Lions third in total offense, won the division first in the first time since 1993, beat the Rams, first playoff win since 1991, beat Tampa Bay, but then lost to the 49ers in the NFC. Then this dude puts up what I said at video game stats in 2024.
Yep.
Top ranked offense, averaging 33.2 points per game, highest in Lions history. Most 40-point games without a turnover. And the first team with 4 players over 1,000 yards in total scrimmage yards.
Wow.
That is an insane fucking resume, dude. And that's just as of 2020.
Which is why I tell you, he has way more of a fucking leash than Caleb Williams does.
Yeah, for sure. Without a doubt.
Because you hit the nail on the head earlier. I don't think that Caleb Williams is a coachable player.
Mm-mm.
I don't think he truly is. Now, on the flip side, I don't think Ben Johnson puts up with bullshit, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be that good and fucking put up with bullshit, bro.
Right. So, we'll see. But hey,
that's gonna be exciting. I'm excited for the season now. This gives me a reason to watch football again.
This was a rough episode, brother.
Yeah, it was.
And I swear to God, next time you better make sure your shit is on Wi-Fi.
Bro, it's always on Wi-Fi, but fucking Destiny took it because she had to do a work Zoom meeting while she was picking up the kid.
So y'all have it hooked up to internet or what?
Yeah, I have a line.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a deal. Promotion, you know how that shit goes.
All right, man. Well, that's gonna do it for this episode of Both Ends of the Table. Thanks for hanging out with us while we solved absolutely nothing, but had a damn good time doing it. If you laughed, argued with us in your head, or realized that we're just way off on our predictions, that's kind of the point. Make sure you follow, share with a buddy, and pull up a chair again next time. Until then, we'll save your seat at both ends of the table.
That's nice.
Adios, amigo.
Later.